Hey guys, welcome to the Jank Think Tank, where we discuss magic, whether it be cards, combos, or deck techs. Today we have a really cool episode, but there is a little bit of a note that we have to discuss before we jump into it.
Yep.
So, Josh, if you would like to take over for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that there are a myriad of different channels regarding Magic the Gathering. However, prior to the recording of this episode, we mentioned one of those channels that our special guest that we'll get to later on was on. In the coming days after we recorded that episode, there was some very disturbing news regarding the particular content creator of that channel. And since then, opinions have obviously changed. And long story short, the opinions that are expressed on this particular episode do not necessarily reflect how we feel now.
Right.
And so we just want to make sure that you guys keep that in mind so there's no confusion going into the episode. I don't want to get into a whole lot of details as far as what happened, because it's all over Twitter, to be honest. You'll see
go
it.
find it. You can easily go find it if you wish to do so.
Yeah.
And it's kind of upsetting on our end because it was like what 3 days we recorded this.
It was like 2 or 3 days,
and so it was strange and it was kind of upsetting. But our opinions on the matter are not reflected in the video that we recorded.
Correct.
But like I said, if you want to know what it is, go look it up. We have a very exciting and a very cool guest with us today on the channel, on the show. So stick around, find out who they are, and we hope to see you later.
Here we go. Boom.
What's up, everybody? So welcome today. Hope you're all doing well. Today we have a very, very special episode of the Jank Think Tank where we discuss all the magic stuff in no particular order, to be honest. But as always, I have my co-host, Josh.
What is up? Oh yeah, you're that way. Yeah, that way.
I wanted to look to my right, but to my left. We can't. Here we are. But as I was saying, we have a very, very special episode today. We actually have a star.
I know.
I'm super excited to have her on. If everybody would give a big round of applause to Rachel Weeks. What's up?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
We are humbled to be in your presence.
Be in your digital presence.
Yes. Gotta keep.
Welcome to my living room. Hope you're not allergic to cats.
Oh, no. I mean, I got my Batman Snuggie in the background.
I have
so
my
we're
sniffles.
Good.
Oh, God.
So for those of you who I don't know what rock you're living under, don't know who Rachel is, she is a podcast host for the Commander Sphere. So go check that out. I was actually listening to your proxy episode before jumping on here about halfway through, but loved it because proxies is my thing. But
Josh is the proxy guy.
Love it.
He's constantly sending me photos. He's like, what do you think about this? It's a card. What about this one? What about this one? And I'm like, those are all gold, man.
I mean, did I make a proxy of Vampire Slayer from Crimson Vow? Yes. Does it have Buffy? Absolutely. So,
See? They're so fun.
I got my Pat Sajak version of Wheel of Fortune, but we're not here to talk about proxies. But you also have a pretty cool position within the Commander world.
Yeah.
As a member of the Commander Advisory Group. So what does that all entail? Just jumping right into it before we get into deck building.
Totally. My primary job as a member of the CAG is to be a bridge between the Commander community and the Rules Committee. So I take my experience in Commander from wherever I play it, either with my friends or online or with streamers or at my game store, and I communicate it to the Rules Committee. I make no formal decisions, but they we're there to advise. So
Okay.
I provide insight to the community at large because the rules committee is only a couple of people. It's hard for them to have the full perspective of the commander community, so they try and reach them through us.
Okay, so who do I need to point the finger at for getting Lutri blamed now that I've got you here?
Lutri is his own problem. Lutri should never have been printed that cute and that broken.
I know, he's adorable.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of banning Lutri as a commander and releasing him into commander, but as a companion, excuse me, not as a commander. He's fine. He's fine as a commander.
He's fine.
But yeah, it definitely. I was counting the other day how many decks I had that could run Lutri as a companion, and it's like 7. So he's banned for a reason.
I mean, he'd be great in a cycling deck.
He'd be really fun to play in the 99. I don't think it's because he's too broken. He's just free.
I love him. I love him in Ye Old Thunderbutt deck is what I call Calamax.
Calamax, yeah. I know. I totally knew who you meant.
Good.
I was going to say again. Do you play Commander? If you don't know who
look. I said it the other day, and someone was like, "Who?" It was a Thunderbutt, Calamax, and he's like,
"I'm a member of the Commander Advisory Group. I know all the slang terms.
We have Thunderbutt and his brother Thundermaw, which is
any number of cards.
The mono green storm T-Rex. Throsta.
Throsta? Yeah, I thought it was just thinking Thundermaw Hellkite, which is like.
Oh no, I've started calling Throsta Thundermaw just because he's,
No, let's be honest. The best nicknames, we got Steve and we got Skittles.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget
classics.
Tim. Don't forget
Tim, Gary. We got all sorts of
regular Gary. Gems. I love Gary.
Oh, Gary saved my bacon in a Pauper tournament last week.
Ooh. Legal and Pauper, Gary.
Oh yeah,
busted.
Oh, it's mono black control with
gross
with love Gary and Gurmag Angler. I mean, that
sounds like mono black aggro.
Oh, and then throw it into Pauper Commander.
It's mono black aggro disguised as control. That's what it is.
Well, and then if you're playing mono black Pauper Commander, it's even more broken. So,
I mean, he's good in regular Commander.
I mean, it just you can't go wrong with Gary. So the table fears Gary when Gary comes out. So
yeah, because when Gary arrives, he never it's never just once. He's going to get sacked and reanimated. He's going to be blanked. He's going to be these are problems.
Gary and Sir Conrad, they have a good working relationship. So
yeah, I have my mono black deck has sort of a devotion sub theme because it's Ayara right now. It's going to be something else, but and it's ridiculous what you can do with just a single, like Gary and Ayara drains the table for 5.
I believe we've discussed my mono black deck on this channel before. Kirik.
Oh yeah. You gotta.
That's classic mono black Devo.
Yeah.
I put Gary
Bola Citadel for the win.
Always.
So Bola Citadel with my Relentless Rats is fun.
Yes,
that's fun.
I'm that kind of player.
Look, our Patreon, our Discord is full of Relentless Rats players. We have like 5 or 6 Relentless Rats decks that is like regularly in pods. It's very fun.
I have one rat deck, which I may end up making another rat deck. I have basic rats and one I'm going to make as advanced rats, where they're all going to be crewing vehicles.
Nice. Rats driving cars.
Yes.
Nice.
But the first one is Aetherios as the commander, right? So, of course, with pack rats, and it has Altar of Dementia in it. So I can just keep second. And actually, DJ from Jumbo Commander helped me put it together.
DJ is a great deck builder.
I love DJ. But I didn't realize he was like 6'6". He's freaking massive, bro. But
yeah, he's a big softie. So when you meet him, you're like, oh, he's the best.
So let's jump into deck building, since that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Because you built so many fantastic decks from your Orvar deck The theme of the wallpaper, we got Feldograph, which I think is one of your iconic decks.
Yeah, thank you.
Your Boros deck with the Chroma and
Roga.
Roga.
His dad's Roga.
Oh, I swear, I think Wizards comes up with some of these names of like, let's take a Scrabble board and throw it up in the air, and what letters land face up, that's what we're going.
All right, so here's your hand.
Kobolds.
This is the keyboard.
Kobolds have very guttural sounds. That's they're all a little bit cough sounding.
So when you're going into building a deck, you've got that itch to deck build because we all have it. And if those of you watching or listening, if you don't have it, do you really play Commander?
Oh yeah, I mean that's
what's kind of your starting point? Is it a card you see as a commander? Is it a particular mechanic? I mean, how do you start down that dark path that we all love?
It's interesting. I mean, I think it depends. There's definitely a number of decks that I've started commander first. I think the decks that people like, Feldograph is one of my oldest decks, and it was originally based on a list from Commander's Quarters, who did a Feldograph group hug deck for $100. And I bought basically that deck, and then over the course of 7 years, it became the monstrosity it is today, which is more of a band control combo deck. And it's super fun. So decks like that I've really grown into, like Sidisi. I have a Sidisi Brood Tyrant deck, and I have a Rakdos Lord of Riots deck. And those two and Feldograph are the three that have really gone the distance for me. But lately I've been building decks that are based around just cards that have been sitting in my binder too long, and I just think are too cool to not have in the 99 somewhere. Probably my latest weird pile is a Lord of Tresserhorn deck. Lord of Tresserhorn is an old Legends commander that is so just like Feldograph. He's Grixis. Okay. And he's a 4-mana 10/4 that regenerates for black. And when he enters the battlefield, you pay 2 life and sacrifice 2 creatures, and target opponent draws 2 cards. So he's a bit of a mess, but I picked him to helm a deck that I really wanted to play Thief of Sanity. I really wanted to play Obeka. I really wanted to play Tidal Barracuda. I just had all these cards that were in my binder. Like I really liked Fevered Suspicion, and I wanted that in a deck. So I really built that 199 up. Yeah, there he is, my big dumb boy.
The big dumb boy.
So yeah, people look at the list and they're like, I don't know what you do with this deck, and it's like, I don't know, you play Grixis, and maybe you have a 10/4 at some point.
I think the cool thing about cards like these is the fact that you can really take it in any direction you want. You know, if you're running something like Zada, Hedron Grinder, that's pretty one-sided. You're running aggro, you're running, spell slinging, things like that. Same with Atraxa. You're either running Infect or you're running Super Friends.
Yeah, or +1 counters, but it's something's counting.
Yeah.
Dan and I actually did an episode about this where we categorize commanders, like legendary creatures, into 3 categories. We called it leaders, which is commanders that tell you what they want. So these are like
every new
like this is your Zada, this is your like Yarix even.
Yeah, I made a slide
stuff that says like
Greasefang, Okiba Boss, where
Greasefang. You're like, I get vehicles, put vehicles in the graveyard, big vehicles. Like you just know what a Greasefang deck is going to do, and that's a lot. I think that's most of the legends are leaders, especially the ones that are printed these days. Then there's followers, and these are commanders that you can sort of take in any direction. A lot of these are like the old partners, like the 2-color partners, or
like Paco and Haldan.
No, not the partner with ones like
Okay.
Thrasios and Timnas and
File
okay.
Smasher?
stuff like
Thrasios,
yeah,
File-
like commanders that don't necessarily tell you what the deck's gonna do, but
Right.
they're good at it. Like Muldrotha, Muldrotha is a great enabler. They're gonna be playing stuff out of the graveyard. You have no idea how you're gonna die. You have no permanence is so general.
Mhm.
Even something like the Esper Fairy, that's artifacts or enchantments. Like I know roughly what that deck's gonna look like, but it takes more deck building to lead it somewhere. And then the third category is weird little freaks. And weird little freaks are cards that there's just a better commander. It gives you it really doesn't help. And Lord Tresserhorn is very close to a weird
like
little freak. Yeah, exactly.
That's like my Tobias Andrian deck.
Yes. It's a weird little freak where you're just like it's not doing anything for you. You're picking it for flavor reasons or for the colors or just like you're willfully doing something dumb with it.
I mentioned Tobias because I built a deck that I called Nothing But Wholesome Magic, and Matthew had the pleasure of seeing it for the first time, and it is anything but wholesome. It is stacks. Yeah. It is infect. It is everything that players hate. I mean, I run Armageddon with Cosmic Intervention, so I blow up everybody else's lands, but mine are fine. Mm-hmm. Again,
I beat him once with it, but that was because he was mana screwed, and I don't remember what I was playing, but I had something fast out, and he ended up not having lands, and I was just beating his face in.
If you can get under him.
Full transparency, I should have mulliganed, but I didn't. I think I said I'm going to risk it for the biscuit.
And then it didn't work out.
Biscuit eluded you.
Yeah. That's okay, but that's why we play Commander.
It looked to be a chocolate chip biscuit, but it ended up having raisins in it. If you've never had a chocolate chip biscuit, they're actually really good. Next time you make biscuits, throw some chocolate chips in there. They're great. Wonderful.
Just don't put Crater Hoof Behemoth milk in it and you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, that makes it a little chunky.
For those of you who don't understand the reference, you need to go listen to the Commander Sphere. There you go.
We do a very careful balance of talking about the social issues of Commander and how to navigate that, and talking about utter garbage.
What are you talking about? That was a fantastic episode.
It was so fun. Yeah. So that episode is called the Milk episode, and we discussed the possibility, the quality, and the taste of the milks of various creatures in the magic world.
All right. So
including Crater.
Big question then, how's Scootsworm?
Scootsworm's a bug, so it's like you can't really milk a bug. We talk mostly about mammals because that's the first question: is can it be milked? And you can't really milk a bug.
Oh, okay, good.
You could juice it, but that's
I don't know. I feel like a lot.
That's a whole different show.
Yeah.
I feel like Scootsworm's getting milked for all it's worth, if we're being honest. So
definitely the way you play it.
I play a lot of Arena, and whenever I go up against any green deck, Scootsworm, and I'm like, gotta have a board wipe somewhere.
Yeah,
it's out of hand really quick.
It's one of those cards that just shoots a flare up into the sky where if you didn't have the attention of the table, you do now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't love including in my decks, actually. I don't like decks that except for Rakdos, where it's just the whole deck is a flare gun.
Right.
But
what did that mean? Pointed at you?
Yeah, where you just know it's a problem. But I really like decks like Feldergriff, where you just sort of play permanents that people aren't afraid of. Mm-hmm. And aren't really worried about until you can combo off or do something hugely terrifying and take over.
Right.
Because I think perception is a really big deal in Commander.
Oh, yeah.
And we tend to really lean on. There's a lot of really scary permanents that are just like they're going to get you killed more than they're going to give you value. I honestly think Doubling Season is too slow for Commander right now.
Yeah.
Because it's a flare gun and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's a premature flare.
Yeah.
So what would you say?
I swear I'm never premature, Josh. It never happens to me.
So what would you say are maybe the top 5 cards that are those flare guns, if you will?
I mean, there's like so many, and it's usually permanent based, but it's stuff that like you just know something bad is happening after it. So I think a classic example is a doubling season. I honestly think Smothering Tithe is a big one where it's just like, and a lot of people still play it, and it's still very powerful.
Ristic
But like, Ristic Study, I think people don't pay enough attention to, which is weird. Depends on your meta. Like as well,
get rid of it. I'll always try.
You definitely need to get rid of it, but I wonder if Ristic Study doesn't attract enough. Oh, a big one's like Consecrated Sphinx. Like if Consecrated Sphinx hits the table, everyone's like kill it with fire or kill its controller.
I would say Vidalcan Ori.
Vidalcan Ori is interesting because it's way scarier than it actually does anything. I love it though. I love the Vidalcan.
I mean,
everybody's terrified of it, but if you don't have the mana to cast anything, it's just
it's just a 4 mana tap 4 lands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder. There's a bunch of them that are very scary, but I think that do nothing enchantments where when they enter the battlefield, it's setting you up for a big turn, and then passing the turn are like those are the ones that I worry about the most. Like obviously there's really scary permanents like a Nyxbloom Ancient, but you don't cast a Nyxbloom Ancient unless you can make 12 mana off of it anyway. So even it's not like a cast Nyxbloom Ancient and pass situation. I mean, you should never do that.
I mean, if you're doing that, you need to rethink your strategy.
Yeah. I was playing with some guy who did that. He tapped out for an Nyxbloom Ancient, slammed it, and then when it got removed, he got very upset. And it was like, you didn't do it right. Of course. We're not just going to let you untap with 400 mana. Right. I don't know what you want to happen.
That sequencing gone bad.
Yeah. You just wait for one more turn or something. It was so weird.
I had a guy in arena, right? I was playing against. So this was when I was playing my mono green Ashaya deck. And Nyxbloom Ancient was in it.
Terrifying.
Circle of Dreams Druid was in it. And Scute Mob was in it. And I think I had about 4 or Scute Swarm, sorry. Scute Swarm.
I was like classic.
Scute Mob. No.
8/8 trample.
You're right. Yeah. Scute Swarm. I think I had about 40 copies of Scute Swarm with Circle of Dreams Druid, and I played Nyxbloom Ancient and was about to tap Circle of Dreams Druid for literally just a butt ton of mana, and he was like, "Nah, I'm out," and conceded. It's like, man, you couldn't let me tap it once. It would have been so satisfying to have that much mana. I only had 1 card in hand, but
it's that's why you can't scoop it at instant speed, as it's deprives your opponents of doing the thing,
doing the thing. Yeah,
that reminds me of my Eve deck though. I have a mono green big mana deck that's a mono green storm. It's really fun.
We have a rule in my play group. You can only scoop at sorcery speed.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like otherwise you get into weird tricks where it's like, okay, I'll concede before you gain all the life from the attack, or I'll concede in response to the activation of this, and it's on arena. Obviously, it's something that just happens. There's no protection around it. But I think in Commander, it's just appropriate to not use a concession as a political maneuver.
In response, sadness resolves.
Yeah,
I could see.
That's I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the deck building, so we have all sorts of resources. Thank heavens for the internet.
Yeah, makes things way easier.
Well, especially for a game that has over 20,000 cards. I mean, what are kind of your go-to resources when building a deck?
So I use Moxfield as a deck building site, mostly because my primary tool is Scryfall. And they have the Scryfall search engine is built into the search engine on Moxfield. Usually I'll have them both open anyway, but it's only because I'm extra. So I think one of the bigger things that really helped my deck building ability was just learning how to do, like, learning the search terms in Scryfall and figuring out how to be like, okay, my commander is white black. I'm looking for sorceries with CMC under 3 that say search or that say land. And then just seeing what comes up, because that's like really where you find some of the weird gems that you never really expected to
Right.
to
Which
come up.
we've used not Skyfall. Oh my god! My brain was like, that name you just said.
Moxfield.
Moxfield, yeah.
My brain was like, that name you just said. Forget it. We don't.
It's gone.
Yeah,
I prefer Moxfield. I used Architect for a long time, but my computer just kind of couldn't handle the site. It was a little too bulky.
I started out with Tapped Out, and then I've moved over to Moxfield.
Yeah.
Tapped Out and EDH Rec are my two.
Yeah.
EDH Rec, for references and other decks that people have built, and then Tapped Out is where I log all my stuff in. So
I use EDH Rec. I use EDH Rec a lot, and I don't use it as much for deck building anymore. I'll do it like usually after I've built a deck. I'll pull up EDH Rec and be like, all right, is there any like very serious tech I missed? Where it's like, did I not find something? Because for me, it's kind of like the hunt is part of the fun.
Right.
So going to EDH Rec and typing in the top like 20 cards that come up is not my favorite way to deck build. Although it's a great resource for people who aren't as much into the deck building process. But I like going to check and see how many people are running certain cards, or how popular certain commanders are, or even just like the different kinds of strategies that show up under a commander. I go all the time just to be like, all right, I need an Esper commander. Like, show me what the Esper commander options are.
Yeah.
So it's a huge resource. I try and use it as a last resort when I'm deck building, just as like a safety net. But
right. I have a question for you. So, sorry, brain connected a few dots here. You mentioned a term that has been now changed to something else, and I may have had this answered before.
Did I say CMC?
You said CMC, and so I was wanting to know why it was changed from converted mana cost to mana value.
It's cleaner.
Just cleaner? Okay. I didn't know if there was any real purpose behind it, or if it was...
I think converted mana cost makes it sound more complicated than it is. And mana value is simpler. Like, I think it would be a good thing for me to switch my language to mana value, but that hasn't happened yet.
Look, I know, right?
So...
You get stuck in your old ways.
Yeah. No, it makes the transition makes sense. I think it's easier for new players to see those words and understand what they mean.
And I think just from a graphic design standpoint, for R&D, being able to take out a huge word like converted, that just leaves more space on the card for something else. That could be a keyword ability. That could be.
It's a little weird that they didn't just go with mana cost, but I wonder. There must be a reason.
My guess is, because I had thought about this as well, I wonder if that also includes any spells that have X in the casting cost, because that value can fluctuate depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that's why converted was in it, to be like it's just the reduced version, I guess. But
I did make a joke a while back where I forget what card it was, but it had like very lengthy amount of text in it. I was like, man, these cards are starting to look like Yu-Gi-Oh cards with all the text on.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Well, they cram stuff in those text boxes.
It's like massive artwork, tiny little text box.
Which, I'm pro the massive artwork, but
yeah.
I mean,
really
that's
nice
like demonic consultations. One of those. Going through all my bulk, I was like, this is too much reading. And then I realized what it does. And I'm like, oh, just kidding. Let's put that in the binder.
Yeah. I know what that does. Win.
Wow, that's a lot of words.
Yes.
Too bad I'm not going to read them. Cue the contra music. Or, no, not contra. Oh, my God. I'm Duke Nukem. Thank you. Look, I'm telling you, it's really hard to think of words. Words are hard.
There's a lot of them.
So going back to deck building, using things like Scryfall, is there any sort of mentality of, I want a deck to do a certain thing, or is it just let's kind of see what pops up?
So I definitely go too wide when I start building a deck, especially if I'm building around a commander. I'll put in like all the cards that could be neat, and then you start with 140 cards in your deck list.
That cut down is
yeah. So I usually do that is part of the process. But usually if I pick a commander, I pick it because there's something neat I can do, and I really want to focus on that. Or there's like one strange interaction that's cool. Like I built Octavia because I built Orvar, and Orvar's crazy. He's extremely powerful, and it's impossible to go to not go infinite with him. He's just.
Well, I know. I watched those 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and I ate your deck.
That was the 3rd and 4th time I ever played that deck. It was right after Orvar came out. Like I picked up the copy and then went to the game. And I was like, oh. And it had some kind of janky spells in it that I really thought was awesome for Orvar. I had like leap and stuff that targeted creatures and cantripped. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, this is just a combo deck. Like, and pretending that Orvar is anything other than this combo deck is not truthful to Orvar or to my opponents even. Yeah. To be like, this is an Orvar value deck. You're like, it's a combo deck. It wants to combo. And unless I'm removing all of the cost reducers and all of the buyback spells, and it's just going to be a combo deck. Yeah. So I built Octavia to sort of take a lot of the spells I really loved from Orvar and turn them into, a different deck that actually had the energy of like a casual deck that uses cantrips for a fun thing. And it really made more sense for that like neat tech. And then I took Orvar and ramped Orvar all the way up, and it got a Force of Will and a Force of Negation and like a lot more tutors, a lot more counter spells. Yeah. And I just made the deck what it wanted to be. But it took me playing Orvar to really know what it was capable of and know like that the deck, this is what the deck is. And it's just, it's really hard to take the competitive out of Orvar, which is what I was originally trying to do. Yeah. So I think sometimes a deck just tells you what kind of deck it's going to be.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like the Ruin Diver from Zendikar, Jory, yeah. My friend plays it. He's like, I swear, it's not a storm deck. It's not even that powerful. And it is. Every single time he plays it, he storms off. And he's like, I don't know how this happened. Like, how do you not know how it happened? It's your deck.
Part of deck building is really listening to the deck. And growing with the deck. I think getting the initial 99 is like obviously a big part of deck building, but figuring out the deck from there, I think is like in growing and changing with the deck, reacting to how the deck plays is one of my favorite parts about being a deck builder and being like, okay, we thought this would be cool, but it turns out it's expensive, or like
it backfired,
or it was just it was insane. Where you're like I built Dragon's Approach and I had the Ripple enchantment in it, or not enchantment, artifact.
Thrumming Stone.
Thrumming Stone. I put Thrumming Stone in it, and I was like, okay, I've now won with Thrumming Stone 3 times, and I think we can figure something else out. So you just figure out, what do you do and don't want to do with the deck, but that requires listening to it. So like if you're playing Jorian and you have stormed off multiple times with it, and you don't want it to be a storm deck, it's possible you're playing the wrong commander. It's possible that like the 99 isn't quite right. If you don't want it to be a storm deck, you have to do work to sort of cut the storm out of it. Or if it's just going to be a storm deck, let it be a storm deck. It's okay to like storm decks. Yeah. I love storm decks.
Don't get me wrong. I love storm decks too. I don't like playing against storm decks.
Oh, that's fair.
Especially when I'm playing like one of my lower tier decks, like Lathless.
Sure.
And he's just like 2 extra turns in, and I'm just sitting there.
It's a lot of like I think learning how to be
honest,
but like honest about your decks, but I think a lot of people are like, oh, you lied about the power level of your decks. Like, I don't think people try to lie. I think people don't listen to their deck.
Yeah.
And
They
on
want Orvar to be a fun, casual deck because they like playing it and they're a fun person. But like, it's like Orvar's not. It just isn't suited. Like I played it on stream with the rules committee once because I was like, it's my new deck. All right, I make 15 Mole Drifters. Like that's not the appropriate place for that. And I didn't know that until I played him, a few times. And then you learn. So I think we need to be forgiving with our opponents on that kind of stuff, but you also need to pay attention when your deck is kicking the shit out of the table. Then maybe it's stronger than you want it to be.
On the offhand, about decks that you think would be powerful but ended up not being. So the best way that I can explain this is I have a Nahiri deck. I have a
Nahiri?
No, Jeskai, Enlightened Master.
Narset.
But Narset, sorry, not Nahiri. Sorry.
I was like, Jeskai Nahiri. What?
That'd be awesome.
What?
Wizards.
Okay.
Future
it's like Nahiri. When did Nahiri get blue?
Like I said, words are hard. Look, I can't even remember my own name half the time, let alone.
You have a Narset Enlightened Master deck.
Narset. Yeah. It's not an infinite turns deck. It's
Yeah.
not an infinite. It is a Voltron deck, and it's not even a powerful one. It's more full of enchantments than anything. And so if Narset gets blinked, removed, they all fall off, and it's just
that's it.
There we go.
It's really hard to blink or remove Narset.
I know. It's it is. It does have hexproof, but I'm just saying.
No, I know. That's like, it's a tough thing to be like, I know it's Narset, but this is what I'm doing with Narset.
Right, but this is how I've built the deck, and every single time I try to play it, I can't because people get rid of it. With someone was last recent experience I had was someone was playing Aminatu and was flickering something that got back board wipes and sacrifice stuff. Because you can't get rid of sacrifice. And he was just constantly making people sacrifice. And so I ended up casting Narset for 16 mana at one point.
Wow.
Because I literally had nothing else to do the game because people kept making me discard my hand. Yeah. And they were like, you're just going to go off and you're going to go. And it's not an infinite. There is one infinite turn or one extra turn spell in the deck. And it's Partying the Water Veil.
So we did an episode about this, and it's a hard thing to stomach, but in the episode we said nobody cares and nobody believes you. Like if you're playing Urza and you're like, don't worry, it's Thopter Tribal, it's Urza. and nobody cares. It's Urza. She's gonna attract the level of attention that Narset gets because Narset has a reputation. So
it's easier. PTSD of Narset.
Yeah, and regardless of whether she deserves that amount of attention or not, you're like, it's just auras. I'm just trying to do auras. They're gonna look at her and be like, or it's not. Like, I can't see your deck. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in there. So what I would say is adjust the commander to what the power level really is of the deck. Like build
infinite turn Narset, I will make it.
I mean, no, I'm saying if you want to play a Jeskai Voltron deck, build a Jeskai Voltron commander that people are like, okay, that's what's his name? The Jeskai monk that gets double strike. He's hang on. He's colors white, red, blue.
She's on Scryfall. Right.
Yeah, I'm on Scryfall.
He's typing away.
Is it
Tygan? No, it's not Tygan.
No, he's blue. He's primarily blue. Where the hell is he?
She said a naughty word, Josh.
Sorry.
She said a naughty word.
This is.
I mean, Ruhan would be a good Voltron in general.
Ruhan is awesome.
Which
I love Ruhan.
If I remember correctly, Wedge made a Ruhan deck at one point.
He did. Yeah.
The one. It's not coming up because I searched.
I just did. top commanders. I mean, you could do Pramakin. Pramakin's fun.
Pramakin's hard to put auras on.
we already have a Pramicon in our play group. Otherwise, I would.
Where?
I mean,
it doesn't matter. But
I
mean,
it's not that important,
like,
guys.
There's a really cool Jeskai Voltron commander that I keep looking at, and I can't remember his name. And everybody's gonna be listening to this just screaming his name. Hang on, type monk. Chuyun, the Silent Tempest.
Okay.
Okay. So he's got prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can give him double strike.
Okay.
But like, because it's hard to talk people out of their own preconceptions of the deck just because you say it is.
Right.
Especially when you're playing in untrusted pods. I did the same thing. I built a Derevi Merfolk tribal deck because I wanted Bant and it had tap on tap synergies because like a lot of the Lorwyn Merfolk react when they're tapped. So I was using Derevi to tap my own creatures to get stuff. But it's Derevi.
But it's Derevi. Yeah. So people always...
Yeah, Derevi's in the command zone, and they're like, you're never going to... No, we're going to kill you. And it's like, my first turn is Merfolk. My second turn is Merfolk. My third turn is Merfolk. And they're like, no. Like, I don't believe you. And it's one of those situations that, like, if you're in a closed pod, absolutely. You can be like, you played against this Narset deck. You know what this Narset deck is. But otherwise, no one cares and nobody believes you. They have no reason to believe you.
Yeah, I think that's why the Rule Zero conversation is so important. At least for me, I don't, because people will ask, what's your power level? What is it, a 7? And I don't like using the number rating system.
It's not super.
I would rather say, you know what, this is what this is what I want to accomplish. This is how I'm going to do it, without divulging any of the secrets. I mean, unless you know me well enough to know that if there's green in there, probably Triumph of the Hordes is going to be in the deck. I'm an Infect player, always have been, always will be.
Sure, your new tattoo.
Just I have a Phyrexian symbol on the inside of my bicep.
Hoodies make it hard to show anything.
Yeah. That's for the Jank Think Tank After Dark. We're stripped down.
The Instagram.
But I'm very particular in that I want to be able to say, okay, this is the overall theme of the deck. I may have this, I may not. You know, so I look at commanders almost like a game of poker, whether I'm playing against my friends or an untrusted pod. Before the show, I was telling Matthew about a game that I had played where the kid was just talking trash, didn't really understand how my Xeris deck worked. It's a wheelie fun deck. I make a lot of snakes.
Really fun.
And and it was funny because he was saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but then complained that he didn't have enough time. And I'm like, okay, Triumph of the Horde, you're all dead. And
end of game.
And he sat there and just kind of shuffled his cards. He was like, do I have anything? And I'm like, dude, you're tapped out. Game over. Sorry.
It's fine.
But
you lose some, you lose some. You lose some, you win some. You lose some again.
You will lose a lot.
You lose more.
Rule Zero is such a key component.
Yeah.
And I think deck building, keeping the Rule Zero in the forefront of your mind of, okay, how am I going to explain this without showing all the dirty secrets?
So something that we talk about a lot on the podcast is I don't think there should be secrets in untrusted pods. If they have a question about what your deck does, I think you should answer it. Like, I understand that people want to be like, oh, there's a cool thing that like is a fun surprise, but I don't want to be surprised by strangers ever. Like, I don't want a stranger to sneak up behind me and be like, ah!
Yeah.
Because it's enough. like Fair that's enough. A stranger. Like, that's not. Yeah. Like, I don't. So I think that the surprises should be saved for trusted pods. And if somebody's like, oh, you run Infect, what do you run? There should be an answer for that. Just because people are like they've been hurt before. We've all played at LGSs where you just get in a pod where you're like, we did not talk this all the way out, and I just got like, I have no interaction to handle your Mike and Trey combo or something like that. So I think Rule Zero is really hard, and it's a really hard thing to get right, especially in untrusted pods. But I think the more that you say, the better the game will go. And like even if you're like, okay, I do run Infect, or I do run Craterhoof. Even if you Craterhoof, it still is like, shoot. You know, it's not like, it's not the big surprise that that you need it to be. So that's my theory on surprises, especially in untrusted pods. Like I've got cool decks that I'm like Feldergrip relies a lot on Mystique and being like, it's a Feldergrip deck, don't worry about me. But like in Rule Zero, if I'm in Rule Zero, I will say it is a combo deck with Group Hug elements. And it's like, I'm not gonna lie to you about this deck. It's not a Group Hug deck. It is trying to win, and it does have control bits that are going to interrupt what you're doing. Because that's what the deck does. And I don't want people to run their like bad precon against it, because it's not a bad precon deck, and it's not there to be cute. It's there to win the game. So
have you ever, changed decks mid Rule Zero when someone's like, hey, I'm just starting out,
all the time
precon?
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you're like, I think I'm gonna play Subira or something like that, there's the deck I want to play, and then somebody's like, okay, well, the only deck I have is like Abzan enchantments. I'm like, okay, so I need to switch to a more powerful deck, or I need to like there's a Carador enchantments deck that's like very serious, and they're like, okay, if that's all you have, my mono red deck is not going to have enough interaction to not just get flat steamrolled by this deck. So you can either go up, or if they say you have a precon, then you're like, great, I brought my murder mystery deck, then, and I'll switch to that.
Ooh. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, murder mystery.
No, it's more it's more like what is her name? Eloise is the commander, so it's all very like, yeah, she's in, there's a murder mystery dinner, and she's investigating the
cryptozoologist, or
no, it's the blue black one.
Okay. I have the world's greatest detective, which is cryptozoologist, where you're always just investigating.
Cryptozoologist is nuts. Lonus is nuts.
Yes, but it's like in all aspects of life, honesty is the best policy. Turn zero in the game.
I mean, it's just like
turn zero in the game.
I said turn zero or in the game.
Or in the game. Yeah. Honesty is what's going to get you to the best game. And like in Commander, to get a high quality game, you need balance, you need interaction, and you need like, as well as you can do. Because like the best Commander game is where everybody almost wins, right? And then someone does. So you really want things to be as balanced as possible. So withholding information in Rule Zero doesn't get you there.
No.
It just gets you to like, okay, if you have a secret and I have a secret, and now we're in this game, and my secret is that it's magnifying glass tribal, and your secret is that you run tooth and nail. Like now, what has happened? The whole game's ruined. So I don't know. I think sharing is as much as you can, especially with strangers, is helpful. But I'm also not I don't list your deck list. Who cares? Just say like, hey, my goal is to get a bunch of snakes on the board. I'm going to hit you with a big overrun.
Yep.
And that's how I'm going to win.
It's going to be a lot of card draw, a lot of snakes, and a lot of fun. That's how I like to do it.
Yeah.
That's
also,
how I tell it.
Xyrus, you should know that's what's happening. Or Perforos. It's like a lot of snakes.
Oh my God.
Fast.
I like Xyrus simply because I can run Howling Mine. I just added Kami of the Crescent Moon to it, and I'm running Teferi's Puzzle Box.
Sure.
So you draw a bunch of cards, put them, and the thing that I like about the Puzzle Box is the fact that you're putting all the cards on the bottom of your library and drawing that much more. So in my perspective, I'm not exiling your cards like I'm about to do with my Circu Demir deck. Because I want to build a super exile deck, and it's not going to be a nice one by any means possible, because it's Circu if I exile someone's Soul Ring, sorry, you guys aren't playing Soul Ring.
It's gone.
Darn.
So what would happen if I played an Omen Engine?
Omen Engine is you don't draw, you just exile the top and you can cast just that one.
Yeah. How would that make you feel, Josh?
Well,
You're in green. You've got removal.
You've got removal.
You're seeing a lot of cards.
It might take you a while to get there, but
I think what you need to do is build that deck, and then we'll have Rachel on. We'll play a game, and we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So my commander is Consecrated Sphinx.
It's a rule 0 commander. That's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I built Edgar Charmed Groom and Olivia Crimson Bride as my rule 0 deck because I just thought with the flavor of the set, Edgar and Olivia getting married, why not?
Why not?
It's also isn't Edgar Mardu? So you just if somebody's like, no, I'd rather not.
So Edgar's
is Edgar just
Orzhov?
Oh, I was thinking he was red-black on the back.
And then Olivia is Rakdos.
Yeah, so it gives you
the two of them combined gives me Mardu. So,
and honestly, it's probably less powerful than OG Edgar. So,
yeah, and I played against a buddy of mine who runs the original Edgar Markov, and it held its own for a little bit, and then I lost, but that's okay because the deck did what I wanted it to do.
Yeah, it happens. But you'll get them next time. Maybe.
I mean, I do run Phyresis in the deck, so
sweet.
Infect. It's Infect for life.
Look, if it has any colors that Infect has gotten its hands on, he has it in there.
It's in the deck.
He could run mono white and have like 2 cards of Infect in there.
Yeah, there's
actually
equipment.
Funny you mentioned that. I run in Pauper a mono white Infect deck.
Yeah. Sweet.
In Pauper. It's phenomenal.
That's really fun because there's like the artifacts that have Infect, right? The 1 mana 1/1s with Infect.
Priest of Norn is a 1/4.
That too. Yeah.
So yeah, I ran Priest of Norn and Ichor Clymere as my creatures, and then
it
runs. It does more of the mono white heroic. Just pile on the enchantments and swing for the win. So
sweet.
It's fun. All right, big question.
Yeah, hit me.
Most obscure commander that you want to build around.
It's so funny. This is what I'm working on right now. So I'm still trying to finish out my all of my colors.
You're also doing the budget monocolor ones.
Well, they're not. So, oh my gosh, I love those. I'm not actually building those in paper. Those are more of a deck building exercise and just a list that I can have online. But I need to finish up the black one. I started that. The one that I'm looking at right now is Esmera, Holy Avenger. She's a 4 mana Selesnya legend for 2 green and a white from Mirage. She's flying, and at the end of each turn, put a +1 counter on Esmera for each creature put into your graveyard from play this turn. So it's green white counters, but it's sort of this. It's like a green white aristocrats build.
Interesting.
That I've been tooling with. There's a lot of cards. Actually, they're over here. I've just had in a stack that I want to get in a deck and don't really know where they go yet. And I'm curious if that deck is Esmera. Mainly, I bought 2 foil old border flag bearers that I would like to get in a deck. So, that's been my latest project. Is like a weird. There they are. They're so pretty. This one's not that one.
We'll go full screen so people. Oh.
Come on. Anyway, they're real dumb, and I love them so much.
They're just real dumb.
You know what? Yeah. I'm a sucker for the old foils. I mean,
yeah, I've got like a whole bunch of these that I've been sitting on. Like this is Benevolent Bodyguard, and I have a foil Hunting Grounds that's way too much money and has never been in a deck. It's absurd. So I've been. That's the deck I've been trying to build.
Is a huge Pauper staple now.
It's great.
I have.
It used to be my Winota deck.
I have a Misty Rainforest, an old form of Misty Rainforest that is foil, and it has not found its way into a home yet. But I have it. It's double sleeved in a deck box, so that way it stays safe.
This hunting grounds has been like, I keep trying to build decks for it, and
I
have a lot of trouble with both Selesnya and Orzhov. I've tried to build Abzan before, and it just wants to combo so bad that I'm like, I don't want to.
One of the first steps. So this kind of calls back to what you were talking about, the little freaks deck. The very first deck I ever built was Teneb the Harvester.
Sure, yeah.
And it was not a good commander for that deck. The way I built it, it was graveyard recursion. I love Abzan. Absolutely love the words. Abzan. But then I found Carador. And Carador was a better version. So I took Teneb out, put him in the 99, put Carador in, and
Carador's nuts.
It was a deck. It was a deck. It's no longer a deck, but the first deck I ever built was Teneb the Harvester. But yeah, Carador is great, and that gets around commander tags. It gets but that's the deck that I have hunting grounds in. Had hunting grounds in.
Carador is the hunting grounds deck. I think it's like it's so perfect, and I've just had one for so long, and I'm like, I almost built the mutate one. The Abzan one. It's like a goat.
Oh my goodness.
The reanimate like with power 6 or less or something like that.
The Nethroi Apex.
Nethroi, yes.
Nethroi.
Yeah. But Nethroi is also like typically a combo deck, and it's just a tough.
Mutate's an interesting mechanic to build around because of the fact that even though a lot of the commanders are one-dimensional, if you will, because you can mutate, you can really take it in 40 different ways.
Yeah, mutate's especially Nethroi, I think, because you just don't need as much mutate effects. I think you just sort of treat Nethroi as like a mass reanimate effect in the command zone, and because of that, the rest of the deck is just like, okay, I'll dump as much of my deck into the graveyard as possible and reanimate my 3 combo pieces, and that's the game. So I found when I started putting Nethroi together, I was just like, I felt like I was fighting too many infinite combos that I didn't want to include. And it's not even that I don't like including infinite combos. There are some infinite combos that I love, but for some reason the Abzan ones just sort of feel done. We've just seen them, or they really rely on similar payoffs, like the Altar of the Brood or something like that, where it's just like, I've died this way before, and I'll die this way again, and I'm not sure if I want to pilot it. So I like infinite combos that are more like, that has never happened to me before.
Yeah.
I've never been given infinite combo hippos and then killed with a dingus staff. Like, it's just, I prefer combos that are like, that people remember, rather than like, all right, I reanimate.
Yeah, I got
Micaeus and win.
I got Brain Geyser the other day, where they made me draw my entire library +1 compliments to you, because my buddy had infinite blue mana.
Yep.
And he was playing Garth, and I'm just like,
cool.
I'm gonna regret telling you this, but I'm like, this is how you win. And he goes, no, it won't work. And I'm like, trust me. Brain Geyser, target me, draw my entire library +1.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, like
decked. KO.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That was one of those losses where I'm like, I took it more as a win, because I'm like, this is what you got to do.
So the card
The
card I was thinking of was Cathrall Aspect Warper. You mentioned Abzan.
Oh sure, yeah. Cathrall's nuts. Cathrall lays like keywords in the graveyard. I have that as my precon on call.
For when I need to play precon games. Second thing is that the only infinite combo that I have is in Shroom the Hegemon.
Sure.
And it's Time Sieve and Thopter Assembly.
Yep.
So that's the only one I have, and I very vividly remember the very first time I ever played it. The guy I was playing with, I was like, I've won. I've got infinite turns. And he goes, you haven't won yet? Play it out. And the only thing I had was a 2/2. And I kept drawing lands. And so I hit him. He was at like 38 life. And so I just kept hitting him for 2 every turn.
That's the thing about infinite turns.
Nope.
My favorite infinite combo that I ever watched was what is his name? My boyfriend has a very intense Tatiova deck that was running Omniscience at the time, and what's the guy that when you give your opponents an extra turn? Eon Frolicker.
Oh, okay.
So when it enters the battlefield, target opponent takes an extra turn, and you gain protection from them. And but it's a cast trigger. You can't just flicker it. You have to cast it. So he had a way to bounce and recast Eon Frolicker infinite times, made all of his opponents take infinite extra turns.
That's so funny.
Waited.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Infinite combos can be incredible. I just don't love the ones that I've seen before.
He's like, look, even though I may not win, you guys will lose your patience before then. So here you go.
You guys play a 3-way, and I'll just wait until the last one dies.
Right.
That's the ultimate Teferi's protection right there. So to sum this all up, we've got a new set, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
What have been some of your hidden gems from this set that you've seen? Because mine lately has been Invoke the Despair. I like to combo that with Turgid, God of Fright.
That'll do.
It has been so much fun to use in Arena.
Oh yeah, I haven't cast it yet. It's cool.
It's my favorite card that I've only had to work once is Mecha Court or Mecha Titan Core. Yeah. I want to play it so bad because every single time I'm like, Megazord, go!
Yeah. And I got hit with one of those playing Draft, and I was like, oh my god, this thing is busted.
I know.
I actually won that game, which was a miracle.
I was on the verge of winning the game when I played that, and then the dude next turn was like, pacify.
Yeah. Done.
Oh.
I was very hurt, like almost physically hurt from that. But
that's a tough thing. It's hard to make happen in limited.
But would you have any
cards that I like from this set? My favorite legend from the set. That's not true. There's two legends that I absolutely love. The one I put in the most decks is Reality Chip. Immediately went into 2 decks.
Yep.
Probably should be in more. That card is insane and so fun to play.
It's a jellyfish.
It's so fun. I love it. I'm also obsessed with Tameshi, but I know that if I built Tameshi, it would be a nightmare. And I love it, and everybody else would hate it. So I sort of have kept a respectful distance from Tameshi, although he might go in my Germ Tribal deck. Yeah. Ugh. The art on Tameshi is incredible. The design is, and everybody. I was talking to somebody the other day. They're like, I don't know, Tameshi's too nerfed. Like,
what?
You are incorrect.
Incorrect, sir. You are wrong.
You are not correct. That card is incredibly powerful.
You should build it. You said that you wanted to build an Azorius deck. There you go.
Yeah. I have an Azorius deck. I have a Temet deck. But I don't have an Orza. The Esper deck. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
So Tameshi I think Tameshi is awesome, and I definitely will put a deck list together for it someday, and we'll see if I can resist the temptation.
Do a Rule 0 deck and have the Piper from Commander Legends. It allows you to add whatever color you want.
Oh God, Prismatic Piper.
Yeah, add the Prismatic Piper.
Now it's my Esper
This
deck.
is an Esper deck.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll see if the Temet deck goes the distance. That's my Living Weapon Tribal deck.
For an Esper deck that I think you would probably enjoy, it's Yenit, I think the name is.
Yenit's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, the one where you play only odd CMC or odd mana value cards.
You do a lot of top deck manipulation. I've played against some sweet Yenit decks. I'm hoping for Streets of New Capenna to hit me with like a cool Esper commander. So I've looked at a bunch that I really like, but
I'm just excited for
the land art coming from New Capenna.
Oh my god. I'm snapping them up for my Ibequeen Marchesa deck that is getting those lands for sure.
I'm just excited that it's taking the whole Godfather feel. I mean, we're gonna have the 5 families.
So when they released New Capenna, I talked to Dan about it, and we were like, Dan's my co-host on the podcast,
right.
And we were like, okay, this is either going to be so cool and crazy and fun, or it's going to be a complete cheese fest, which is just as good. We're like, there's only 2 ways this goes, and incredibly or terribly, and I'm on board for both.
all I know is that if I don't see a card referencing the Great Gatsby, I'm going to be very upset.
Oh, I'm sure they'll do like a Green Lantern artifact that taps things. We'll see something.
I will make sure. I will design. And Matthew, I will send you one, and Rachel, I will happily send you one. I will send you one with Leo holding the glass. There you go.
It's going to be like a kind offering, like you and target opponent draw a card or something, and it's just Leo holding the cup.
There's going to be some sweet political commanders. There's going to be like I don't think anyone can unseat Lord Tresser as my Grixis commander, but like there's a shot in this deck in this set. I'm really excited. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the other Kamigawa card that I think nobody's talking about that I really love is the 3 mana Touch the Spirit Realm. It either removes a creature or an artifact, or it blanks one of your own. It channels to blank one of your own things. There's so much value and utility on that card, and it's a permanent that you can recur. So like if you're playing white, you can pitch it, blink your Sun Titan, and then bring it back to the battlefield.
And the fact that it's an uncommon.
There's a lot of uncommons in this set that I really love, especially the channel ones. So Touch the Spirit Realm went into my Feldergriff deck because it's a 3 mana spell that you can cast for 2 mana, which means it's getting around Karuga a little bit. And I really like the turtle, the uncommon
Blastoise.
Well, that one's great, but the uncommon turtle is the Sky Turtle, Colossal Sky Turtle.
Okay, yeah.
Kappa Cannoneer went into my. I play Legacy Affinity, so I have 4 Kappa Cannoneers, but the Colossal Sky Turtle is the one I was thinking of.
I pulled one of them in draft. I didn't.
This is one of. So this is going into my Sidisi deck because
that's a good one.
Being a regrowth or a bounce spell or just a 6/5 flying is like it's a threat. It's a removal and it's recursion.
I also have a Sidisi deck, so that's a good call out. I made that.
I was really pleased with the Colossal Sky Turtle. I think there's some really great uncommons in this set. There's some really great rares that people are hyped about too, but Colossal Sky Turtle and Touch the Spirit Realm are 2 of my favorites.
All right,
my favorite's been You Are Already Dead.
Yeah, cards and nuts.
Nani?
I mean, the fact that it works so well with Pestilence.
Oh yeah, in some decks this card is insane. It cantrips. Why does it cantrip? It's so good.
Honestly, I really have come to believe that Gavin is really pushing for more cards for Pauper.
It does seem like there is some attention to Pauper being paid. I mean, not in terms of nerfing, in terms of gas.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of gas.
Yeah, poor Pauper has been banning furiously.
Right.
Okay, so I understood ATOG when they banned that. I felt sad over Bonder's Ornament, and then when they just got rid of Disciple of the Vault, I'm like, well, there goes that deck.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that just shows how powerful it was.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll still play it, kitchen table stuff, but
yeah.
The one card that they banned that I've only really been hurt from was Paradox Engine.
Oh sure, the commander. But there's a reason.
I can understand why. Yeah, I can understand why.
Yeah.
I mean, they banned Gristlebrand. I mean,
What were they thinking?
Why would they ever ban Brand? He's not even that good of a card.
I mean,
He's like not even a good commander.
Right.
There's people that are like, okay, just do banned as a commander and have Brand being banned as a commander. It's like he's worse in the 99. What are you talking about?
I know. I would love to see Prophet of Crufix be unbanned. I think we're at a point now where it's easily removed.
No.
Yeah.
No?
I don't think we should unban that card.
No.
Yeah.
Because it goes in every single Simic deck forever. It completely dominates the table's time. It is way too powerful for what it is.
Fair. Okay, that was just wishful thinking.
I'm more on the side of Seaborn Muse should be banned.
I would agree.
Yeah, I do not like the game patterns that Seedborn Muse creates. I am not advocating for a ban of Seedborn Muse, just so everybody knows. But like, if I was going to choose unban Prophet of Crufix or ban Seedborn Muse, I would choose ban Seedborn Muse.
Yeah, it's just, even though you say, there's several ways it can be removed now, you have to remember there's also several different ways it can be recurred now.
Yeah, there's several ways to remove Grizzlebrand. That doesn't mean that Grizzlebrand should be unbanned.
Yeah, and with Seaborn Muse, there's so many ways to essentially, not Seaborn Muse, with Prophet of Crufix, there's so many ways to get Prophet of Crufix essentially just with multiple cards.
Yeah, they're also always untapped. So it's like, I counterspell, I protection, heroic is intervention, and I kill you on my upkeep. I flash in a Scoot Swarm. Simic is already so powerful that it's like it's an uphill battle to unban green cards. Yeah, in my opinion. Like there's a lot of arguments for Sylvan Primordial, which first of all, have you ever played against Sylvan Primordial? Gross.
Not yet, but yeah. I will totally take your word on that one.
Yeah, but giving more tools to the color that's already completely dominant in the format, I think is not necessary.
Makes total sense. Awesome. Well, Rachel,
cool cards get banned.
I know. Dang it, Lutri.
Yeah. People love Toll Breacher.
So I'm waiting for Opposition Agent.
It's a little different, but yeah.
I'm waiting, but we can all get what we want. So
you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. All right, now that I've got a song stuck in my head for the rest of the day. Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. And of course, Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
It has been an amazing time. Thank you.
Thanks,
truly.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm happy to do it.
For everyone watching, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to check out Rachel's podcast, The Commander Sphere. And you're on YouTube now.
We're on YouTube. Yeah, please. If you listen to the podcast, or if you haven't listened to the podcast because we're not on YouTube, just go to YouTube, give us a subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 so we can get some ads up on there, and we're getting closer every day. So we appreciate the help on that.
Yeah, definitely check it out, and then check out any of the episodes that Rachel's been on, whether it's on game nights, I Hate Your Deck. Watch the episode where she won with the Boros deck, and then afterwards watch the episode.
Watch me get absolutely creamed with a green deck.
Oh, I felt so bad. That Toski deck was so much fun. Let's go nuts.
Love Toski.
Good times indeed. So, but yeah, this has been an absolute blast. Again, Thank you so much for coming on. And Matthew, so it's fun to hang out with you.
Oh yeah, always. We haven't done an episode in a while.
14 and my voice is dropping.
No,
not COVID.
That's what happens when you talk for a while.
True. Oh man, very true. And for everyone watching, make sure to check out Undercover Caves for all of your podcast needs, including Matthew. What other show are you on?
What other show am I on? That's a good question. TDC, The Definitive Crusade.
Yeah.
I haven't been on there in a couple episodes due to life, but definitely go check it out. It's still an amazing time. Johnny does an amazing job with the show, and everyone else, just awesome people.
Don't worry. We'll have a Jeopardy for you coming up. So
Yes. Maybe I'll win this time.
DC Comics Jeopardy. It's fun.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Slightly scary sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. And then if you love Marvel, we've got No Price Podcast and Outside the Panels, where Johnny the Machine Hughes talks to all of the indie creators. So check it out, and then check out comiccrusaders.com. And for that, I'm going to hand it back over to Matthew.
All right. But I think that's going to call it for an episode. I think that's about time we wrap it up. So once again, Rachel, thank you. You're an amazing person. I'm very glad we could have you here. But guys, gals, and non-binary pals, this is Nightlight 95. Tapping out. We'll catch you next time.